Hello.
So, I'll say straight up, is there any questions?
There must be.
How on earth are you so cheerful if it's 1 a.m?
Sorry. It's 8 minutes past 2 now.
I'm just amazed that you're upright and as cheerful as you are at that moment in time of your time.
Yeah, life is good.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Lily. That was fantastic.
Oh, thanks for having me, Cynthia. It was really great, actually.
Anytime.
Really great.
This is fantastic. I guess one thing is I put that question out there to you and everyone. What's the one thing that you gathered from this conversation? Is there anything that you will change in the future, given everything that you've learned today?
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. Be conscious a bit more of connections and relationships. I mean, I'm always mindful, 10 grandchildren and they're all really different. But just, well, I'm off to Bundanon on Monday to the south coast of New South Wales, and I just really want to go there I go there a lot, and each time I go there it's deeper, and I really want to have a good conversation with some of those old women when we're here this time about the waters, and just to sit with country a little bit more too.
Mm-hmm.
I love sitting with country. I just love listening. And I went outside in the break and the stars are all shining and it's a beautiful night, and the dogs started barking and wrecked it all for me. But yeah, those sort of things. Travel less, make more work that's accessible with each other. Exchange. I love exchange. It's a lot of things.
I think can I ask you to explain a bit further what the sitting with country expression, where it comes from, what it's I mean, you've given some examples, but I'm curious. It's a very beautiful expression, and I'm wondering, is that something particular to Indigenous culture in Australia, or is it something you
I mean, I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for Wurrawari Nambar people. But sitting with country. We do a lot of sitting with country. Yeah, old people. When I was growing up here in Bree, we were out a lot and we were on the land. Even when we were out with Dad when he was shearing in the shearing sheds, he'd say, "Shh, listen. You'd have to be still. You'd have to be quiet to listen to your surrounds." But yeah, that's what sitting with country is with us. It's about listening. At the moment, our fish traps, there's no water. The water's not running over the man-made weir. And so you sit and you grieve with her as you see the water disappearing out of the fish traps. Yeah. It reflects, land reflects us. If land's unhealthy, we're unhealthy. Land is a community. And like Uncle Wes says, he's a 98-year-old elder in residence at Muglin. Like he says, the birds and the animals can live without us, but we can't live without them. So that's another form of sitting with country. Hope that answers your question.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kevin, for the question, because I had the same. I also want to thank you, Lily, and everybody else on the very inspiring panel. inspiring panel. Sorry, I don't know what I said. This is Margaret. I'm from the Canadian Embassy in Germany. And I was just thinking if after this discussion of how to bring more space and time and possibility of connection into institutions, I was just thinking if sort of sitting with the country could be a possibility to create that space and time within institutions, and referring back to what Kevin said of, making the institutions a more welcoming space for not just the one Eurocentric way of seeing things. Yeah, that was just a thought.
Yeah, no, absolutely, no, great thought. Yeah, I think I've worked a lot in different arts areas as well as community cultural development, and I think each space requires its own. Each institution I've worked for requires its own space, and different groups of people. Like when I was working with the City of Sydney, the council, local government, at Redfern Community Centre, it's such a diverse community. Yes, there's a high population of First Peoples, but there's a lot of Yugoslav, there's a lot of Chinese, there's a lot of a lot of everybody. Russians were settled in Redfern too, and so how do you navigate and make space for everyone that's equal? So at different celebrations, Mother's Day, Father's Day, we do different things each year. We do, what do the Yugoslavs do on Father's Day? So everyone would do it. I was the cultural development officer there for a while. It's pretty great. So, unlearning that learnt behaviour too. It's a challenge every day. And that's another thing about sitting with country is unlearning. Yeah. Unlearning the everyday tasks, the everyday thought, the everyday that's in your heart. Yeah.
Can I ask, when non-Indigenous presenters are looking at Indigenous artists, whether it's their own local Indigenous artists or visiting ones, we're so stuck into the formal structure of opening the doors, letting people into the seats, seeing the show, and then leaving. And I know that very often we talk about venues doing community outreach activities. When they're looking at these types of presentations, what would you say in terms of what community outreach might actually be most connecting, would create the best relationships, but also the best, be making the audience more conducive to the art that they're going to see?
It's having a gathering before they see the art and meeting the artists or artist and having that little yarn circle, getting in that little circle and having a little feed and a cup of tea and coffee or whatever. Engaging in and bringing the community in to meet and welcome those artists, even if those artists are from the same land as you are, bringing people together and talking about it. And I think, and for afterwards too, we learnt this strategy from our Canadian cousins, our Turtle Island cousins. There's a discourse of questions to engage with after a show. It mightn't be for everybody, but you might get a small group of people, and you want to make sure some of your local First Peoples are included in that, or First Nations people are included in that. So they too can start understanding what shows are about. And that doesn't necessarily have to be for a blackfella show. it could be for a non-Aboriginal show or a non-Indigenous show that our people want to go to the theatre, but they don't know how to engage. So it's a way of getting out and building that relationship with your local community. And it was 5 questions in this discourse conversation. I don't know if
Was the did the questions come out in advance, or did they come up during the course?
no, they came. Somebody led the circle, and yeah, I'd get on to Cynthia. Cynthia, you probably know. You know the critical discourse questions that Judy Harkwell and Denise were teaching, and Jacob did at Yurumboy. Jacob Boehm did at Yurumboy Festival. Yeah, they were just 5 questions. You know, what did you see? Oh, what did you notice? Sorry, which, you know, you've got glasses on. I noticed that. It had to be a real thing. It couldn't be a made-up thing, and it had to be tangible. What did you see? What did you notice? How did it make you feel? What do you think the writer's intent was, or the performer's intent was? There's 2 more questions. I can't think, but we're going to go back to, yeah. I'll try and find it.
In reverse, you know, it's sort of in Western theatre, it's not very effective. You have questions and answers, and you ask the audience if they have questions of the artist, and they all just sit there.
Yeah.
But you're turning it around. I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah. So people can understand the story a bit more as well, because some people I've seen people come to our theatre here, shows here, and there's one guy, he was asleep in the front row snoring, and I felt like kicking the sand up in his face going, wow, this is a really good show. What are you doing? But he just sat there. Yeah.
I think we're getting booted out.
We are getting booted out in 9 seconds. So thanks everyone for having me. Really grateful to be here. Thanks, Cynthia. Yeah.